Say, by the way, what you boys got in that box anyway? Wes, Wayne, and Jay all looked at each other. Jay decided to tell the truth and went ahead and said, "Well, Uncle Hurvel, here's the story." Jay covered every detail as he told Uncle Hurvel the whole story of the box. By the time they reached home, Jay had told him everything they knew and understood and everything they didn't. They unloaded the box to the side of the handcar, then helped Uncle Hurvel move the handcar off the tracks. Uncle Hurvel gathered up the tools and the boys once again harnessed themselves to the dragging sled. It only took a few minutes for them to cross the last 50 or so yards of tall grass and gravel road that separated the tracks from the front of their house. "Hey, Mac!" yelled Uncle Hurvel as he walked in the front door. He called Mama by the nickname Mac, same as some of the other siblings did. Mac was short for Maxine. "Anything good to eat?" he continued. Mom met him in the hall and just smiled to see him there. He was something of a dashing figure as he stood there wiping off his shoes, and still standing there, he took off his work gloves and his pinstripe coffee can shaped railroader hat. He put them in the back pockets of his matching pinstriped railroader overalls. Then he greeted her properly. "What are you doing in these parts, brother?" she asked as they shared a hug. "Oh, just working a crew down the tracks a ways, that's all," he answered. "I got you boys with me. They were helping me some back up the track a few ways. Sorry about making them late." The boys heard all of this as they eased into the house a little behind Uncle Hurvel. Jay thought to himself, "This is working out great. Uncle Hurvel's taking the heat for us." "Sorry we're late, Mama. If there's anything left, give it to Uncle Hurvel," said Jay. He was trying his best to sound both repentant and pitiful at the same time. Apparently it was working because Mama said, "Come on into the kitchen, Hurvel, and you boys get on in here too. I reckon we can scare up a little something for all of you." Uncle Hurvel leaned over to Mama as everybody walked toward the kitchen, and he whispered just loud enough to be sure the boys could hear. "Mac," he said, "these boys of yours have some kind of secret adventure cooked up that has something to do with that big old box they drug up to your front yard. They have told me all about it, and whether or not I believe all they told me, I don't know. The fact is they believe it, so please don't come down on them too hard, okay?" Mama looked over her shoulder at the boys and only slightly raised her eyebrow. We were all familiar with this primal parental temperament indicator, which mirrored Mama's opinion of our behavior by the relative height of the arch of that eyebrow. The higher it went, the more extreme the consequences for our bad behavior would be. Since it only went up a little bit, meant we were getting off with maybe just a warning. Unfortunately, it also carried the unspoken threat of a probationary period of up-close scrutiny. Mama said, "Y'all go wash up, and I'll get the food back here on the table. Hurvel, is that sawmill whistle not working?" She didn't wait for an answer, and he didn't offer one. It was clear to the boys that she was talking to them, and the next time they came in late, she may not be so forgiving. They did a rush job of washing their hands and face, then quickly and quietly found their places at the table. The biscuits were leftovers reheated from breakfast. That was all Wayne wanted. He used the tried and true recipe for sugar biscuits. First, he licked his recently washed right forefinger, and while it was still wet, he poked a deep hole inside this hot biscuit. Next, he stuffed a little butter in the hole, and then he followed with as many spoons of sugar as he could cram in. The last step to fill the void was as much pet brand evaporated milk as the biscuit could contain. To eat one of these delights, you had to hold it over the plate while maintaining the vertical just like you would an ice cream cone. Wes and Jay liked biscuits, but they were more into variety. Variety in this case meant having as many as 3 vegetables, all green, with at least one of them having the last name of Beans. As Hurvel and Mama continued their impromptu visit, the boys tended to the task of finishing their meal. Ordinarily, nothing could distract them nor lessen the urgency of assuring themselves of an equitable share of the available rations. This was different. Even though the adults were barely aware of their presence, the boys tried desperately to conceal the tide of duplicity rising in their hearts. They knew that when Mama's sneaky detector antenna was activated, she could pick up on a guilty heart from miles away. "Hey guys, what say after we eat, we go play some ball?" said Jay. He spoke in a normal voice and punctuated his query with a subtle wink, hoping they picked up on the code. "Yeah," said Wes. "Let's play catch. All the stuff we need to play. Ball is right there in the front yard," Wes continued. Wayne missed the wink and asked a little bit too loudly, "What are you guys talking about? There ain't no baseball stuff in the..." "Ouch!" Wayne's voice stopped just as he was about to unknowingly activate the aforementioned sneaky detector antenna. The sudden impact of Wes's big foot against Wayne's very bony and tender-skinned shin was enough to stop Wayne in mid-sentence. He looked a dagger or two at Wes. Then the look changed to understanding. The change in Wayne's deportment was helped along by the silly grin Wes was sporting as he somehow was able to point toward the front yard using only his left ear. Yeah, let's get in some practice so we can be ready for the next game of workup," said Wayne. He was now on board with the newly established code word for the box. With that, the boys finished their meal in silence, quietly monitoring the progress of each other so they might all finish at the same time. With an exchange of nods, they confirmed each was done. "Well, we better go start our practice now," said Jay. "I'm right behind you," said Wes. "Me too," agreed Wayne. Thinking they'd pulled off a perfectly non-sneaky exit, the boys moved out of the back porch and onto the front of the house. They didn't even notice that Uncle Hurvel and Mama had quit talking altogether as the exit maneuver was implemented. The antenna momentarily shot up to max power as a result of Wayne's outburst, but the Let It Slide override module came on almost immediately, so they were given a pass. Now, by the time Uncle Hurvel started back to the railroad tracks and back to his work crew, the boys had already pulled the sled and its cargo to the rear of the chicken house for further study. "Whoop!" yelled Hurvel. The boys were busy removing the box from the sled when they heard the call. "Well, we'll have to hold up a minute and go help Uncle Hurvel with the handcar," said Jay. "Come on, then. Let's hurry and get it done so we can get back here to this box," said Wes. As they took off around the chicken house toward the railroad tracks, Wayne thought he noticed something in the dark corners of the coop, and it was not a chicken. He started to say something to the others, but then he thought it'd be better to wait until they got back. "Yeah," answered Hurvel, using his trademark low, throaty, affirmative response that is now family legend. Minutes later, the handcar was set to go. The boys were about to say their goodbyes when Uncle Hurvel pulled off one work glove and dug deeply into his pockets of his overalls. He pulled out his hand, and inside it were 3 nickels.